Yes.
WTF! WTF!
If you like a lot of wrestling on your SmackDown, watch last night's SmackDown. I do not care that is gimmick infringement from the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast. You can do what you want when you're the Cultaholic Heavyweight Champion, so suck me chebs. Yes, there was a triple threat tag team match and a geet long, as we would say in the northeast of England, gauntlet match on last night's SmackDown Live, and quite frankly, if they don't just give Kofi Kingston the WWE Championship at Elimination Chamber, there's something wrong with the world. I don't care if Kofi holds it just for a few weeks before dropping it back to Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. It just needs to happen because last night he was fantastic. For the past 11 years, he's been fantastic, and it's a crime he hasn't held the big one. That's just a little bit more bigger and more prestigious than this one here. But that's besides the point. I'm Ross Riddell from Cultaholic.com. You're a sexual wank fazant. And let's take a look at all the WTF moments from last night's SmackDown Live. And we kick things off with this sign, which is always a WTF moment, because look, what a startup business. Now our logo is on national television in America and internationally around the world. And that's good, isn't it? Thank you to that rogue warrior in the crowd at last night's SmackDown Live. I don't know who you are. Make yourself known. I'll pat you on the back. Next time you go to a show, do what they did. Now, colour me confused, ladies and gentlemen. Have we all forgotten that Charlotte Flair is the dog's bollocks inside the squared circle? And have we all forgotten how great Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey was Survivor Series 2018 before Ken Barlow, the dirty bastard, came in and got involved? It's because she calls the kendo stick Ken, all right. Now, I've got a bone to pick with the crowd inside the arena at last night's SmackDown Live, because when Charlotte Flair was stood there saying, you all know fine well that at WrestleMania, in the main event, while I'm taking on Ronda Rousey, you'll all be on your feet chanting, this is awesome because I'm bloody great. And somehow, some way, that was greeted with boos, as if Charlotte Flair morphed into Jinder Mahal talking absolute bollocks she can't back up. Now, of course, Charlotte Flair isn't Becky Lynch, and we're all absolutely angry that that beautiful, noble, strong orange gazelle got jackhammered by Vince McMahon on Raw. I get that. But for numpties like that up there to be all of a sudden like, boo, Charlotte Flair, you're not very good, you can't have a good match, well, I'm not going to take it. Oh no, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it anymore. Fight me.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
Sasha and Bayley earned the chance to be number one in that tag team championship match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view on Sunday, Byron. What you on about, man? They lost a match. As we all saw, Byron Saxton, I don't think you saw this. Sasha and Bayley were pinned by the butchery, I got it right that time, on Raw this week, which means they have to enter first, which logically is the worst place you can be in. You're making it sound like they found the golden ticket inside the chocolate bar they're taking to piss in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory where all the Taz lookalikes work. Now, I must have been turning into Corey Graves and being a massive Mandy Rose nonce during the course of this week's Raw, because I completely missed this while it happened on Raw, and for that, I'm sorry. So during that little promo there, Mandy Rose claims that her and Sonya Deville have made all kinds of history in WWE together. They managed to get down to the post office together first thing in the morning, and they were first in the queue. They managed to get the first freshly baked sausage roll from Morrison's Bakery last Monday morning. Amazing. And they also apparently took part in the first ever Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. I know, contraire, my friends, WrestleMania 25 and Santina Marella are calling, despite the fact WWE want you to forget about that match because he's got to work instead of cock and bollocks.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Here's a direct quote from Corey himself during that triple threat tag team match on last night's SmackDown Live. But Saxton, you can't just pull a guy out of the crowd and become tag team champions, for Christ's sake, Corey. First of all, you were talking about a women's match, and a guy, unless it's WrestleMania 25 and Santina Marella, they can't be involved. And second of all, that was less than a year ago, man, you tit. Quite simply, the IIconics need to win the Women's Tag Team Championships on Sunday at Elimination Chamber, because last night on SmackDown Live, they displayed the first piece of logic in the history of WWE. Why does everybody get into a Royal Rumble match straight away when they don't have to? Why do people bounce back off the ropes from an Irish whip when they don't have to? Why were Naomi, Carmella, Sonya and Mandy doing the grab so hard on last night's SmackDown Live when they knew fine well if they lost that match, they would be in the Elimination Chamber match on Sunday first? The IIconics, apart from a little teeny tiny little bit at the start of that tag team match on last night's SmackDown Live, they stood on the sidelines. They didn't get involved, they couldn't lose, they couldn't get pinned, and because of that, they won't be entering number one on Sunday in the Chamber. Why doesn't logic like this happen more often? Well, bloody Danya, set a galah. Tamina is my favourite professional wrestler ever. She really is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't she? Because on last night's SmackDown Live, a promo was shown with her and Nia Jax, the Butchie Botchery. That's a good name, isn't it? Nia was sat there going, how? I'm going to botch on people's faces. They won't be able to walk out the chamber on Sunday. And for whatever reason, Tamina was speaking over the top of Nia Jax, and you couldn't hear what she was saying at all. It was completely inaudible. You couldn't catch a word of it, Tamina. In the words of Ronan Keaton, that bastard of song and lyric, you say it best, pal, when you say nothing at all. No, Miz, don't you go spreading bollocks. Now, it wasn't camaraderie that made you and Shane McMahon the best tag team in the world and the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. It's the fact that Grey Sweaty Dad got himself into tip-top condition, a couple of abs under there. He went to one kickboxing class, and all of a sudden, he's considered just second in the line in terms of hard bastards in WWE to Brock Lesnar. I know what you're saying, oh, Ross, you're blowing things out of proportion when it comes to Shane McMahon, but you go back and watch the Royal Rumble pay-per-view and watch Shane McMahon single-handedly destroy the Bar. Sheamus and Cesaro, really good wrestlers, getting single-handedly destroyed by Shane McMahon. It's right, I know I'm right. I'm too bad. I only bring this point up because as we stand here in 2019, The Miz is fully babyface, and he shouldn't be telling lies like the one he just told there. Oh my tits, look at the size of that sweaty prick's head there, will you? Yes, the sweaty cousin of Mr. Garrison was stood on last night's SmackDown Live going, oh, Miz, no, I'm so embarrassed. I'm blushing. How could you tell the world that I'm on the brand new series of NCIS LA with LL Cool J? Stop being bashful and humble, you deceitful man. It's never suited you before, and it never will again. So what you doing it for? You can't pull the wool over our eyes. I'm a truther. I'm sounding like Corey Graves. And apparently The Miz wasn't supposed to tell anybody about Shane McMahon's upcoming TV appearance with LL Cool J, apart from his own family. But The Miz said it, live on SmackDown Live, because we're all part of their families. Are we really? You mean to say that mere peasants like you and me stood here, we're supposed to be related to the best professional wrestler in the world? We're supposed to be related to the man who taught Jet Li everything he knows. We're supposed to be related to the most hippest, most happening cat in Greenwich, Connecticut today. East Side is the best or something. I don't think that's true, Miz. And I don't want it to be true, Miz. I can't be related to a sweaty, delusional Joe Rogan wannabe New Kids on the Block dad. I don't want to be, so you take it back. Was anybody else taken aback by the Usos' brand new t-shirts on last night's SmackDown Live? It looked to me, at first glance, like a pair of wolves howling at the moon. And that would have been weird, wouldn't it? Because when wolves howl at the moon and you put on a t-shirt, that's a sexually suggestive metaphor to women because of the howling during the sex. And that's not coming from me, that's coming from Dwight K. Schrute, and he never lies. The Usos, they bathe together, just in case one of them can't reach that spot in the middle of their back. The more you know. Here's a direct quote from Colonel McSweatybollocks, who, if you haven't heard, is the best professional wrestler in the world today, when he said to an Uso, I'm going to hit you so hard, your brother's going to feel it. And it was clear by saying this while at the grand old age of 49 that Shane McMahon was the sort of kid who back in his school days, if he got in a fight, would try to use the walls of Jericho to win. Even though when he was at school, Chris Jericho would have been a little child. But you know what I'm trying to say, don't you? What is Shane McMahon trying to prove? We know he's the best professional wrestler on God's green planet Earth. We know he's the best martial artist who taught Jet Li everything he knows. We know he drops sick bars with New Kids on the Block back in the 1980s going through some sort of midlife crisis. We know his dad has more beef than yours and my dad put together. Yet for some reason he still feels the need to stick his head into a kick while taking it, moving his head more closely to the boot so he gets twatted in the face legitimately. We saw it a few weeks ago and Sheamus provided us one of the greatest moments in WWE history, but did Shane McMahon learn from that? Did he? Bollocks, because an Uso did the same move last night, and for some reason Shane was doing that once again. Shane, man, you're working yourself up into a shoot. For Christ's sake, you tit. Woo! I love Daniel Bryan's new Titan Tronos like Dean Malenko's from back in the day, but all like eco and green and smelly and hippie. But I can't be the only one wondering why Daniel Bryan hasn't realised that he's been a massive hypocrite by having a big old bloody Titantron behind him in the first place. This is something he used to level at CJ Parker back in the old NXT days because he was like, whoa, peace, love and stop using the lights, man. Yet he had a big Tron and all the bells and whistles that go with the WWE entrance as well. And speaking of NXT, just go and look at Tommaso Ciampa last year. No lights, no music, no noise pollution, no electric pollution, none of it. Daniel Bryan should be doing that. Maybe Daniel should go and take a naturally fallen leaf from Tommaso Ciampa's book.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Mathematically speaking, Daniel Bryan does not stand a chance of retaining his WWE Championship in the Chamber on Sunday, according to Corey Graves. Well, that's bollocks, isn't it? At the very best, Daniel Bryan has a 16.66666 recurring chance of retaining his WWE Championship. Obviously, that percentage gets lower and lower the earlier he goes into the match, but still, there's a chance there, isn't there, Corey?
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
And here's a direct quote from Corey Graves this time. Rowan will be locked outside the chamber like everybody else in the world, aside from the 6 competitors. No referee then? I don't know, you might be saying that's too pernickety, Ross Twiddell. Well, let me point you to Corey Graves' Twitter game. If he's calling fans idiots, how can he get away with stuff like that? Byron Saxton is a massive heel. On last night's SmackDown Live, Byron was all like, well, maybe Daniel Bryan shouldn't have dumped his WWE Championship in the trash if he didn't want to defend it in the Elimination Chamber. What the hell does that even mean, Mount Byron? Elimination Chamber was happening whether Bryan did that to the championship or whether he didn't, and because Brock Lesnar's Brock Lesnar, whoever is WWE Champion has to fill in the gaps. Insert phallic joke here.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Now it's obvious that Corey Graves has been watching Owen Hart from the 1994 Royal Rumble, because during that Gauntlet match on last night's SmackDown Live, he claimed that Samoa Joe was trying to twist the skull off of Kofi Kingston's head. But when the skull is the head, how do you twist it off itself?
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Back to Corey we go once again. This time he shouted loud for the entire world to hear. Kofi kicked out at 1 when we clearly heard the referee count 2. He must have been on Twitter or pissed or both.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Corey Graves during the first bits of that Gauntlet match last night. Kofi Kingston, you're an idiot. You're going to tie yourself out before the Chamber on Sunday. Corey Graves during the latter bits of that Gauntlet match on last night's SmackDown Live. Oh, Kofi Kingston, what an unbelievable performance. You can't rule him out. He's got to be one of the front runners to win the championship on Sunday. Well, it can't be both, can it?
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
So according to Byron Saxton, Kofi Kingston knows no other way than to fight and to keep on fighting and to fight some more. That's apart from when the New Day were heels back in the day and they used to cheat to win every single match. Or when the New Day were baby faces more recently and they cheat to win most of the matches because it's funny and so fun to watch. So essentially, Byron Saxton, Kofi Kingston, that man knows how to cheat like a book of GTA codes, man. It's endless. So 54 minutes into that Gauntlet match last night and Tom Phillips is all like, whoa, Kofi Kingston involved in the longest SmackDown Live match in the history of SmackDown Live. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Iron Man match, 60 minutes. And that's it for the WTF moments from this week's SmackDown Live. And to summarise, Corey Graves shouldn't have a go at fans if he's going to be this much of a tit on WWE's programming. Once again, I'd like to apologise for what you've just seen. Thank you for being a sexual wank faisan. I'll see you on Monday. You can follow me on Twitter at Ross on Wrestling, pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. But most importantly of all, subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow us everywhere on the social medias, and you know what? If you like games, we've launched a gaming channel with Ben Potter and Peter Austin. It's called Triple Jump. Go and subscribe to that as well.